Welcome everybody to the 30-day Trader Induction. This is day 16 and today we're talking about support and resistance. Arguably the most important module of the whole series because you can understand everything about a price chart from a technical perspective, but support and resistance really gives you an edge into understanding the context of the market, where it's been and where it may go next. So firstly, what support and resistance is and why they form. And support and resistance just comes about when the market is pushing to the upside, for example, and the buyers become exhausted, so the sellers gain control and the market pulls back. Conversely, on the opposite side, when the sellers are strong and the sellers become exhausted and there's no more sellers in the market, the buyers will step in naturally and bring the price back up to the upside, and that's where we get those movements. And those turning points in the markets where these levels of exhaustion occur at the extremes, that's where we're able to plot levels of support and resistance that will project out into the future that we can utilize as points that price will be magnetized back to in the future, and they can also be used to trade off of. So we can trade short off of resistance and long off of support. They also go a step further and become a bit dynamic, where resistance can become support and support can become a dynamic, and I'll explain that in a minute. How to identify the key levels on a chart? We're looking for that exhaustion and price returning and pulling back from regions. So we have a market moving to the upside and it starts to pull back. We know that we've had a nice long run to the upside and price has pulled back, meaning that the buyers have lost control, they've lost their strength, and the sellers have stepped in and pushed price back to the downside. So what we can do is we can take that high and extend it out to the future and base a trade on the understanding that if price revisits this region in the future, then it's likely that because the sellers overpowered the buyers in the past, then is the same thing going to happen again, because humans are very habitual creatures. And that's where technical analysis and support and resistance, more specifically, really gains a lot of strength. So in this case, the market did return back up to that region. The seller stepped in and the market pushed off and you made some money on that short. Now, price is heading back to the downside. Where's it going to go? It's going to go find either a new region of support or a previous region of support. So what we can do, or we have to do, is we just have to look at that last low where the market turned around, and that's our level of support that we know that price is most likely going to be gravitated back towards that we can catch a bid on the bounce of price as those sellers start to become exhausted as they have in the past, and now the buyers are going to step in and overpower, and we can get a nice bounce that we can catch to the upside. Now, that's really it in terms of the identification of the support and the resistance. It's just regions in the market where price has turned around. Now, when we're going into the next conversation about static and dynamic levels, we know on a one-dimensional perspective, resistance is rejected and price pushes to the downside, and support is rejected and price pushes to the upside. But what can also happen is price can breach through what is a level of resistance. We've got one touch, two touch on the upside. Is it going to happen a third time? Yes, it can, but it can also break through to the upside. And now suddenly this region here of resistance, 1, 2, can now be used as support because it is below market price. So the market can gravitate back towards this region, this price point, this level where sellers and buyers have become exhausted in the market in the past, where the direction has changed hands, the power has changed hands from the bulls to the bears, and now we've got the bears running out of control and the bulls are stepping in, and we can take this to the upside. This once was resistance is now support. We can capture a trade to the upside like so, and that's called a breakout trade. So these ones where shorting resistance is a reversal and buying support is a reversal, we can take a breakout of a previous resistance level as a breakout trade to the upside, a continuation. On the other side of the story, if we have the market pushing to the downside through key critical levels, we can also take these trades on the retest of the underside lower into support. We had what was once support price moved away. What was next? Support, price moved away, broke down. So we had the breakout on that leg down, and then the retest from the underside was that level, that region in the market shifting from a strong bullish foundation to the bears now claiming that territory, and we can capture that short to the downside for a continuation. So we had a reversal, and a continuation to the downside. Now, you won't know where the level of support and resistance is until it's already been set. So when the markets are trading in no man's land, for example, Bitcoin, we didn't know where it was going to stop, but we had to wait till price pulled back before we can confidently plot a level and say, this is the new level of resistance the market will likely trade back up to at some point in the future, and we can capitalize on a short, or price may break through to the upside and we can capture the retest and a continuation of that level here. Now, if we move on to the next topic, which is how price behaves when it approaches a key level, this is when we're layering on our learnings and teachings from the last episodes, which was the Japanese candlesticks and the candlestick formations. When we have candlestick formations occurring at these levels of support and resistance, which is just regions in the market where the power has changed hands, the bulls have tried to push it up, but the bears have taken control, push it away. The next time that happens is now where price is revisiting a level of resistance. Like here, we have the first touch setting the level, the second touch identifying and interacting, and that's our first key area in which, once the market gets back to it, we can actually look to execute and deal at. We layer on top of that the candlestick formations and deceleration, and we can get some directional predictions. We've got a level of resistance in new territory. We didn't have any historical data on it, so we waited for the pullback. Now price came and revisited, so we know that it's probably likely that the market's going to sell off because it's hit a level of resistance. And on top of that, now we've also got deceleration into this level, and we've got the bearish engulfing candlestick off of the level. The market is literally screaming at you that it wants to push to the downside, and lo and behold, it did. And this repeats all day, every day, on a probabilistic basis. Not every time, but most of the time. So this is a really good example of just resistance being met. Now, I will say is the second and third bounces are the best to take trades off of, because once you start getting to the fourth touch out here, for example, the level becomes quite weak, but still doable. But I like to always base them off of the second and the third touch. They seem to be the most probable. The fourth can work, but usually if the fourth is in play, it's kind of ready for a breakout, because there's so much trading pressure building up that the market makers are going to look to push it in the next direction to capitalize on wiping out all the stops hiding behind these regions here, and use that as rocket fuel for the next position to the upside. So we're basically trading these levels as indication of where the market can turn around, but also we can look at it from a perspective of where the market could go, because if we know now that the market could return back up to this level of resistance, then let's try and bid the market up to that region, right? So the way we're going to do that is stepping out to a much higher time frame where a lot of the higher candlesticks are printed, which is where a lot of the weight is built, and the structural foundations are built on the higher time frames. The higher time frames are the stronger ones, and the lower time frames are the weaker ones. We can see we've got the high of 2017 and the high of 2021 and the high of 2025 back down on monthly time frame. We can see that same sample play out where we've got a resistance set from no man's land, the breakout, the retest of it here now is support. What was once resistance is now support, and we got a massive rally to the upside. So that happened once in the past. Same thing here. We had price move to the upside, find its head. All the buyers became exhausted, and the sellers stepped in and pushed the market away. Price revisited it and then pushed away again on that second touch. But this is a good example here of where you can argue that this is a nice little level of resistance, double top pushing away, but this whole region is intact now. We've got this whole region here where from a much larger perspective. We've got resistance 1, resistance 2, we have resistance 3 pulling back, pushing back through to the upside, and now it's here as support. So what are we looking for? Naturally, a break and retest continuation to the upside. Unless the market breaches this level, finds acceptance below, we can look to short it down into lower lows. So that's how the market is currently moving to levels and from levels, and how we can make a guess as to where the market is going to go, but not just a guess, a calculated guess based on what the market has done in the past. Now, in order for, say for example, well, I'm going to take this one more step further, and say for example that we are looking for a run back to the recent all-time highs off of this support, just basic expectation. The market has to actually traverse through multiple different regions of support and resistance within that larger range. Okay, so this is where it becomes fractal. We can have larger, higher time frame ranges like this, but then within the ranges we can have these little fractals. So we have a level of resistance, a level of support, but here we also have our own little level of resistance and support, and we can bring that all the way back out here. So these levels are all dynamic, and it's always good to just look at the past. Where has price reversed from? Because it's probably going to happen again, and we're probably going to be able to utilize that level to base a trade off of at some point in the future. And that's what this is here. Especially if we drop down to a weekly time frame, we can see that the market is just in one larger pullback to the downside from resistance to support. But in order to get down there, it's had to do things like hit its head on support, or find its feet on support, pull back to the upside, break through, switching it over to resistance, and now pushing back down into support, where we can maybe get a nice little bounce to the upside. And the pattern repeats. Maybe we could take the short off of this region here that we plotted on, and then bring it back down to what was once support, resistance, now support, back to the upside. And then overall that makes that larger fractalized support and resistance. And that's the way it all goes. We're just looking for these regions where it's been reversed and rejected in the past, in conjunction with the candlestick formations, and you can have some really, really high quality setups to and from these levels. And it's all about just understanding where the market's been, where it could go next, and actually putting yourself on the line to take advantage of these positions before, and just having a bit of intuition as to where the market may head to next. Now, going into the next video, we're going to be talking about market structure, which is where we take this from a one-dimensional perspective of the market pulling from, well, actually, let's take it a third dimension, because we have the first dimension, which is selling resistance, buying support. The second dimension is the resistance levels being broken out, now switching to support that we can take a buy off of. So we have dynamic levels, but a third dimension on this is the context of where the market has been. Is it ranging? Is it trending? This is called market structure. This is trading higher highs and higher lows, and lower highs and lower lows, in conjunction with the support and resistance, to base an expectation on where the market may head based on where it's been, where it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and then you throw on top of that candlestick formations, and you are really cooking with gas. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to box it off here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.